producers of the show, Maggie Tokuda-Hall. Love is also polyamorous. I have a love letter for you too. Dear Maggie, so far in our relationship, you have made me horny for hyenas, a coffee machine, a squid, lesbian werewolves, cruel haikus, and macarons. So if desire is the greater part of love, then I have loved you most of all. Very confused, Meg. So for the ring, I give you Maggie Tokuda-Hall.
I'm so glad that we took a break, because if I had to read after Nazila, I would have cried forever. Give it up for Meg, who's been an amazing MC. So I'm going to take us in the Love is Gross direction. So I'm sorry. And this story is called Mary and the Sex Date. The Seagulls didn't augur well. Not for tonight, for this date with all its promise and implication. The gods in the heaven looked down at Mary with disdain. It was they who had sent the flock of seagulls that circled over Mary. Death will come to you, the seagulls shouted down at her. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and also your shoes are stupid. Mary wondered which was worse, her long and graceless march through singledom, or the profoundly uncomfortable pumps she was wearing. They were 3-inch heels, sex heels, with a pointed toe that said, I mean business, and by business, I mean sex. This was a third date, after all, and Mary had bought the shoes especially for the occasion. The shoes were immature, and they were impractical, and she was too old for them. She knew that, knew from the way the sales girl had tipped her head at her. These? She'd asked, judgmental as the gods. And now, as she limped only 3 blocks into what would be her third date with Ben, the seagulls hovered above, suspended in the noisy disapproval of the gods. With every step she took, they followed. With every step she took, she flinched from the pain of her feet in her improper shoes, and her knowledge that she was a disappointment in the cosmic sense. Always. This, she knew, was not good pre-date thinking. For all their infinite wisdom and being, the gods could be real box blocks. I know, that was a thrower. Ignore them, she told herself. Tonight is not about the gods. The thing was, she liked Ben. She liked him a lot. He slicked his hair back in a way that was stylish and not gross, and he wore a tie. She liked the way he kissed the one time that they did. She liked his effort, liked the way he mentioned his past and his daughter, 6 from a previous marriage, right away, and showed Mary her picture. His daughter's name was Jessica, and she'd inherited his shy smile. He smiled that smile now as he waited for her outside the restaurant, the expensive restaurant that he had chosen for this, their third date, the sex date. You look beautiful, he said. She tried not to think of the birds, of the bad omens, and of the gods and their never-ending opprobrium, and she excused herself to go powder her nose. After flipping and primping her hair back into its most comely shape, Mary spotted a white hair, one long white hair that somehow the colorist must have missed. She'd been dyeing her hair to the jet black of her youth for years now, and so she grabbed that errant white hair, the stubborn thing, and she pulled. And she pulled. And she pulled. At some point in what she was sure would be ceaseless pulling, she realized that even though she could feel its tug on her scalp, it was not in fact hair. It was dental floss. It smelled of mint, but also vaguely of mouth. Panicked, she pulled it until it finally reached its end, and she threw it in the trash where it belonged. She wondered which of the gods devised this mockery, and if it were punishment for her inability to settle down with a nice man, or her masturbation habits, or some other sin gone unrecognized and not atoned. Dinner went well until just the very end. Mary sneezed into her napkin, which was not, in isolation, a calamity. But in the wake of the sneeze, she felt something solid folded into her napkin, something stiff. She let the napkin fall open, and there, in her hand, was an old popsicle stick, tipped with the red shadow of a dessert long since gone. "Is everything all right?" Ben asked, and Mary told him everything was wonderful, thank you, which was mostly true. They had been talking about Mary's fondness for mixing drinks, and so they headed to her apartment under the pretense of her best Manhattan. She ignored the Seagulls as best she could, but Ben looked up at them and asked, "Does it seem like they're following us?" In the instant the question left his lips, one of the seagulls swooped down and snagged a chunk of Mary's hair with its beak and flew away again. "Jesus!" Ben shouted. "You're old," the seagulls cried. "You're old, and you're still thirsty." Mary touched her fingertips to her scalp. They came away bloody. "Jesus," Ben said again. "Jesus fucking Christ." Mary forced a laugh that sounded much braver than she felt. "Some luck, huh?" "We should, actually have one of those Manhattans now," Ben said, and then flinched, embarrassed. So he knew about the third date rule, with Mary's desire. That was okay. That was great. It made Mary smile and live for a moment in the warm embrace of ignorance without the seagulls, just alone with Ben and her anticipation of him, of them, of the sex date and all its promise. He kissed her head gently and then kissed her, his lips dotted with Mary's blood. They walked faster. The Manhattans went forgotten. Ben and Mary left a trail of clothes that led directly to the bedroom. Mary relished the slow way Ben's kisses found her neck, her collarbone, the ticklish spot behind her knees. She was even more pleased by his enthusiasm for cunnilingus, which he initiated and seemed in no hurry to conclude. Eating pussy is important. I'm happy for all of you. Mary guided his fingers inside of her, and she moaned. There was a pause, and Ben, with his brow furrowed, pulled back. "Huh." Mary, who in her decades of operating a sexually active vagina had suffered the following ailments therewithin: vaginosis, genital warts, vaginitis, yeast infection, urinary tract infection, human papillomavirus, post-period odor, and once, in college, chlamydia. So Ben's perplexity was not only perplexing to her, but it was also very worrisome. "What's wrong?" she asked. In reply, Ben hooked his finger, and to Mary's shock, extricated a plastic bag from her vagina. I fucking warned all of you. It was a Walmart bag. Crumpled and damp. Mary didn't even go to Walmart. She couldn't even remember the last time she'd gone to a Walmart. What the fuck was a Walmart bag doing in her vagina? A receipt fell from it and drifted to the floor. Mary's hand flew involuntarily and full of deep red humiliation to cover her gaping mouth. Her body was a landfill, a dump, a dumpy thing, old and alone. She pulled the blanket up over the pile of trash that was her body. "There's no hiding it. I'm made of garbage, Ben. Me, the whole thing. It's trash." Tears pricked her eyes, but she could not cry. Not tonight, not on the sex date. She lifted her chin, defiant. "I can't hide from that." The gods sent a seagull crashing against her window with a thud. "The gods," she said, "they hate me." Ben stood, and with a sigh, reached a finger into his own vagina. A little bit of fiddling, then, smiling his shy smile, a banana peel, brown and spotted, fell from between Ben's legs. "The gods hate us all." "You too?" Mary asked. "Me too," Ben replied. He looked just as humiliated as Mary felt, but just as defiant, his shoulders square and straight. "I thought I was the only one," Mary said. Ben shrugged, bewildered and bemused and smiling. As they made love, the trash piled around their bodies, filling Mary's bed with refuse of all manner, recyclable, compostable, and otherwise, bits of plastic, scraps of paper, charging cables, tampon applicators, old batteries, carrot tops, and crunched beer cans. It was everywhere. Between their bodies, sweat pooled, caught in the folds of their skin, salty and sticky and smelly and human and good. And outside the gods raged and they fumed. Outside, the seagulls circled and they called. Outside, where they belonged.
So just to recap, love is gross, love is pain, love is dick jokes, love is thirsty, and love is trash. Me too, I'm trash. Maggie Tokuda-Hall is a co-producer of Cliterary Salon and a creator of the Drunk Safari podcast. She has an MFA in writing from the University of San Francisco. She is the author of Also an Octopus. Maggie, if people are looking for more of your work, where can they find you?
You can buy my children's book, Also an Octopus, at your independent bookseller of choice or on Amazon. I would appreciate it if you do. Or you can follow me on Twitter at EMTEEHALL. Or you can listen to my podcast, Drunk Safari, which is what it fucking sounds like. It's drunk people talking about their favorite animals, and it's available on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice.